All right, I want to thank you guys. Sorry for the technical difficulty. It's just the nature with Ellery at El Capri.
Okay, that's it.
Perfect. I want to thank you guys for coming. You know, there's a lot going on in the town of Bloomfield. So let me just start by having you kind of introduce yourself to our listening audience. And while you're introducing yourself, just share with folks the position that you're currently running for.
Excellent. So thank you so very much for having us. Thank you for coming in the studio just for us tonight. As I stated, my name is Suzette DeBeatham-Brown, the former mayor for the town of Bloomfield. I am currently running again for town council in the town of Bloomfield.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Councilman Shamar Mahon. I am a two-term councilman for the town of Bloomfield. The youngest councilman in Bloomfield's history, if I might add. This year I'm going to be running again for town council, hoping to represent you in your best interest. I'm the only councilor to vote no on raising your taxes, and that's because I am representing you, the residents of Bloomfield. So you can find me on 3B. You have 6 votes. Use 1 for Shamar Mahon.
Okay, awesome. So both of you you've been in this business for a while. You've done some work. You're the former mayor, councilman. You've been a councilman for a period of time. Let's just start with, what are some of the work that you have done over the period of time that you were mayor, former mayor DeBeatham-Brown, and Councilman Shamar Mahon? What are some of the work that you have done up to this point, and some of the things that you are looking to do differently if you're reelected? If we could just start there.
So I had the opportunity to serve Bloomfield for 4 years. And, you know, the years that changed life, right, during COVID-19. And I was able to partner with the mayor for West Hartford and the mayor for Windsor to bring food to the town of Bloomfield. We were able to feed hundreds of our residents for the 3 towns. I needed to make sure that our residents were taken care of, right? From getting in the hospitals to come in and do testing in the town of Bloomfield, for them to come in and provide vaccinations in the town of Bloomfield. I partnered with churches, I partnered with nonprofit organizations for the services to come into our town, and also partnering with other towns to make sure that our residents was taken care of. I was also the mayor when George Floyd happened, and I was able to stand with our town and talk about the importance of seeing each other and respecting each other for who we are. And one of the things that I still love about the town is the mural that's at Town Hall. The George Floyd mural at the Town Hall, or even the mural that's at the Human Services building right across from Carmen Airways. Mm-hmm. On that building, you see our first Black President, Barack Obama. Mm-hmm. You see our Disney princess, Anika Noni Rose. You see Dwight Freeney, one of the shining stars in the NFL. I wanted our students to see people who looked like them, mm-hmm. so that they could dream, so that they could have some idea of what their future could be like, just to dream, mm-hmm. just to see people that look like them. So during my time on council, I wanted to make sure that our community felt like a community. And I believe it did, mm-hmm. right? During COVID-19, we were voted the nicest town in the state of Connecticut by Reader's Digest. Nice. Here we are in a pandemic, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And we were voted the nicest town. And over the last 4 years, that's just been eroded, right? I never thought that I'd come back to politics. Yes. Right? Yeah. I saw me being the first Black female West Indian, mm-hmm. to become the mayor of Bloomfield. Who would have ever thought? Right. Right? So I was blessed for that. I was able to serve at some trying times and being able to stand with and pull the community together. Mm-hmm. You know, the last loss was hard, right? Just being totally honest. But the Lord opened another door for me to become deputy mayor, mm-hmm. of a state agency. So I thought my political future was done. I didn't have a title, but I still served my town.
Nice.
Because I'm a
Nice.
servant by nature.
Yes.
People still called me, even though I wasn't on the council. And what did I do? I helped, right? But when I saw that our community was taking a different turn, I lived there. I pay taxes there. We raised our children there.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, okay, I feel like I still have a little bit more to give. And gratefully, during the primary, the residents came out and they voted. And that's how come I'm on the ballot for November. So I'm grateful to the residents who saw me and valued what I had to offer.
Nice.
So I'm on the ballot. And I just want to bring community back. I want to bring some respect back. There's a lot being said about Bloomfield everywhere. And it's not all nice. So I want to bring some of that back. I want to level set what our town government looks like.
Nice.
And how it impacts our residents.
Nice. Thank you for that. Councilman Shamar.
Yeah, one of the, and I'm going to touch upon one of the points that our former mayor stated. You know, one of the things that inspired me to take up that beacon of leadership in Bloomfield is actually the leadership that former Mayor Suzette DeBeatham-Brown displayed during those trying times in which we had, of course, the COVID pandemic, and we had, of course, the situation of police brutality in our country. To see someone take up the mantle and display what leadership looks like, not just when it's good, but when times are tough, is really important. And that's sort of some of the lessons that I took and implemented even when I became a leader in this town. One of the things that I've been working hard on is keeping our town government accountable to the residents of Bloomfield and keeping the residents of Bloomfield at the forefront of all decisions made here in town. What I've been seeing over the last 4 years, but even accelerated over the last 2 years, is a shift in the decision making away from what matters most to our residents, away from what's in the best interest of our residents, to special interest, a lot of backroom deals, secret agreements, things that ultimately work against the best for our town. We have various situations that I've seen that have been a bit discouraging, but this is where we have the chance to turn things around. That's why this election is so important, because the ball is in our court. We have the opportunity to make Bloomfield as great as it can be. You know, a lot of folks use the tagline, make Bloomfield better. Well, you have two folks that are actually working to do that and have continued to work. Former Mayor Suzette DeBeatham-Brown, even though she wasn't on the town council this last term, still continued to do the work. Myself, I was on the town council, and I did the work even when I had to stand alone. And that's one of the important things in leadership, is being able to stand alone, stand in your truth, and stand for the residents that you vow to represent. And that's what we plan on doing. That's what I will continue to do as your councilman.
Thank you so much for that. A lot of people will often say that the politics in Bloomfield, like the parties seem to be divided, right? And somehow can't pull it together based on what I'm hearing other people are saying. What are some of the issues that you think is dividing the parties within the town of Bloomfield? And I know you guys touched a little bit on some of the issues that are impacting Bloomfield. What are some of the other issues that you feel are impacting Bloomfield that you feel as a candidate can make a difference if you're elected into the positions that you're running for?
So I want to point out, right, that at some point in time, I think the saying goes, if you can't live together as brothers, you're going to die together as fools, right? And I hold some of those sayings at the forefront of my mind. I'm a Democrat. Councilman Mahon is a Republican. But at the end of the day, it's about what's in the best interest of Bloomfield. So you have to put party aside, right? You have to put personalities aside. You have to put your own personal agenda aside. and think about what's in the best interest for the greatest amount of residents in the town of Bloomfield, regardless of party and personal. And I don't think we have gotten to that place. I think there's a lot of I. And when you're only seeing you can see no one else. You can see the needs for no one else. And I think we have to level set where it's not about me, it's not about him, it's not about Republicans, it's not about Democrats, it's not about a stepping stone to another position, it's not about power or perceived power. It's not about any of those things that's going to make me shine, but it's about what's going to be of most importance for our most vulnerable, which is our seniors, and our most valued, which is our young people. And I think for some strange reason, that those two things have been taken out of the equation. We have to come together, because if we don't, we're truly going to die as fools. And with the way of the world, with everything that's going on around us, if we can't get it together as a town of 22,000+ individuals, we're really going to die as fools. So I think we just need to step back, take that deep cleansing breath, and level set. The politicians need to talk about policy. The town employees need to be able to walk out that policy. So I think some level setting needs to happen, and I think we all have to be committed to that.
And ultimately, we need leadership that's willing to put people over politics. The residents of Bloomfield should be at the forefront of our decision making in all aspects. One of the things that's really harming a lot of people right now is just the overall economic pressures that everyone is under. I constantly hear about how expensive things are at the grocery store, and I see it myself. You know, you go, you pick up eggs, you pick up milk, you pick up bread, and you're like, wow, 2 years ago, 4 years ago, this did not cost what it costs now. And you're seeing your dollars not be able to stretch as far as they used to. Now, those may not be things that we can control at this level, but what we can control is how heavily you're taxed here at the local level. We had a reevaluation in this previous budget that heavily affected how our homes were, of course, evaluated and then subsequently taxed. We had the opportunity to rein in our spending to make sure that our residents aren't put under undue burden. Because like I said, there are so many folks in our community that are really having a tough time. We have a lot of folks in our community that are on fixed incomes, elderly folks that can't afford such a sharp tax increase, that are trying to figure out, how can I make my Social Security check stretch to fit in this extra cost that I didn't account for. Lord knows the inflation rate that Social Security grows by can't compensate for how much you got taxed at Bloomfield's level. But that's something that we can control. And that is why the leadership that we have on town council is so important, because you need to have folks that see you. We see you, we hear you.
We value you.
And we want to make sure that you are fully represented.
Thank you for that. You touched a little bit on the tax piece, which was one of my questions. Before I move on to that next question, I just want to pause here to say, for those who have just joined in, of course, you're locked into DREP Radio. It's DREP 860, the Jammin' Show with Angie G and El Capri. And we're here in a dialogue with Councilman Shamar Mahon, who's running for re-election, as well as former Mayor Suzette DeBeatham-Brown. We're just having a dialogue about, their views and what they will be representing and how they can represent the people of Bloomfield when they are re-elected into those roles. And so I want to go back to the taxes, because when I told folks that, you guys were coming on the radio station, a lot of the questions were, please find out what they're going to do to lower the tax in Bloomfield, because it seemed to be going up and rising and rising.
Yeah.
And I can relate, because I live in the town of Bloomfield where I've seen that. So can you each speak to do you, number one, acknowledge and see that the taxes seem to be getting out of control? And secondly, if you're reelected or when you're reelected, what are you going to do about that to make it better for the residents of Bloomfield to not have to be burdened by this ongoing increased taxes?
So I'm glad that you brought up this tax question because, like I said, I'm the only council person to vote no on raising taxes in town. I voted no against the budget because I thought the budget was very irresponsible. Not only did it raise taxes absurdly, but it gave the residents of Bloomfield nothing. The only thing that I was able to get implemented into the budget, the thing that I proposed was no salary increases for our directors across the board because I couldn't fathom giving these increases in compensation when our residents in Bloomfield, many households in Bloomfield don't make some of those salaries that our directors do. And not to say that our directors don't do a great job because I work with a lot of them extensively and they do a phenomenal job, but on the backs of our Bloomfield taxpayers, I couldn't justify that. And so I advocated greatly against it, and I told my colleagues, I fought really hard to try to convince my colleagues to rein in the spending, bring it in, because we could have avoided this. We could have avoided this. There's two problems that I identified in this recent budget situation and tax increase. One, of course, is the spending. But then also, we had an opportunity. We had $4 million that was set aside for, and they call it an Economic Development Trust Fund, but it's really an Economic Development Slush Fund because there was no specific direction for the money. We were just told, oh, look at the plans for the town center. Look at the plans for the town center. That's what it's going to be for. But there was no specific outline, plan, direction, phases, none of that put forward as to how we're going to spend that $4 million. When that money could have been used to help alleviate some of the tax burden, which is there for. You know, that $4 million, that's your tax dollars. It came from you, but instead it was used. It was used in order to, I guess, prop up the former mayor, and it was a decision that she mostly was pushing for. But I couldn't justify the sharp tax increase because our residents are really having a tough time. And on top of it, there were no meaningful capital improvement projects that came out of that budget either. So yeah, you're spending all this money. You're looking at your tax bill. You're almost, I've seen people. You're ripping out your hair, trying to figure out how to pay it. I had a conversation with a lady, and it was really heartbreaking because she told me, she said, I just paid my taxes late, and it's hard watching how much money is wasted in town hall because I just know how hard it was for me to come up with this money.
Right.
And it broke my heart. We're ultimately responsible for how the money is spent in our town and the burden that our residents are put under. And I'm gonna pause you for a minute because we're gonna jump into a quick PSA, and I want to make sure that this go out on the airwaves. So hold your thought. Yes. It's a short PSA, and we'll be right back after this very short PSA. It's okay. Our folks here on the live. Folks on the live will be able to carry it out. The live, we're gonna run some music for the live until that's it. It's done. It's finished? Yep. Oh, look at that. All right. It may have been just one PSA. All right, we're all set. Yeah. There we go. So yeah, before the PSA was talking about how hard it was for that resident to even come up with the money to pay her taxes late. And so, it's up to us to make sure that our next budget is responsible to the people who return. It's up to us to return the budget, return our town government, return the decisions back to you, the residents of Bloomfield.
So I wasn't on the council. for this budget. Wasn't there, didn't vote for it. But I can tell you, I say to people all the time, I fell in love with Bloomfield before I was paying taxes. So, I kind of fudged because I lived on the borderline of Hartford and Bloomfield. And when people ask me where I lived, since I was on the border, I chose, and I said Bloomfield. And when I got engaged and I was getting married on the Saturday, we moved into our condo on the Friday night. Went on our honeymoon. My mother and my girlfriend got our furniture, cleaned our house because I wanted to be in Bloomfield so much. So it hurts me now to see where our taxes have come from. I'm a taxpayer. And it hurt my heart. When I opened my bill, when I saw my revaluation, I was like, wait a minute. No one came into the house. No one looked at nothing. How in the world can
Same thing for me.
How can you value my property? Went through the process, and they denied my arguing my taxes. When I hear people on Facebook like, I just put my house up for sale because I can't afford my taxes, or an elderly lady said, I raised my children here and now you all are forcing me out of my home. That hurts me because I knew how excited I was to move to Bloomfield. Just like in any economic situation and you have to tighten your belt to take care of you and your family, I believe the town should have tightened their belt. And I don't believe that they did. However, I spoke about it, raised my voice about it. I didn't have a vote. But when I do have a vote, we're really going to have to make some hard decisions, just like we're asking our residents to make. Some people are deciding medication or food. Medication, food, or my tax bill because they don't want the interest to be gained on the tax bill. So if we're asking our residents to make those decisions as a town, we need to sit down and make those decisions as well. And here's the thing, we have a phase-in. So it wasn't just a gift for this year. It's going to be a gift for the next 3 years. And then by the time the end of the 3 years, we're going to be back into another revaluation period. And honestly, with the way the world is going, I don't see anything coming down. I'm hopeful, I'm prayerful. So we're going to have to make some tough decisions going forward as a town, as Councilor Mahon said, to take care of our residents. Because if everyone moves out of town, what do we have?
And some people are on fixed income, right? So as the taxes are going up, their income isn't going up.
Correct.
So it makes it even more challenging for them.
Correct.
So if thank you for sharing all of that. If each of you could just really spend some time talking to us about, I know you touched a lot on what you plan to do when you're elected. Just let the residents of Bloomfield and just our listeners in general, because you don't have to live in Bloomfield to call somebody and say, hey, I heard Councilman Shamar and I heard former Mayor Suzette DeBeatham-Brown, and it sounds like they're the best candidate for this. This is what they are representing.
That would be correct to say.
Spend some time just sharing with our listeners, when you get elected, what change they will see. What will you be bringing to the table that's going to benefit them and make life a little more easier for them?
Well, one of the first changes that I want to do is a structural change. Now, like I said, in the last 2 years, I said 4 years, but in the last 2 years, really, we saw many changes, and a lot of them were in how our meetings function. So the former mayor, we used to have 2 regularly scheduled meetings.
We're bringing it back
each month, and the former mayor reduced it down to 1 meeting. I think I came on the show around when that happened and spoke about that a bit. But the former mayor reduced our 2 regularly scheduled meetings down to 1. Now, what that did, it did a couple of things. Now, the first is that, of course, it puts only one scheduled meeting on the calendar, but then you have to then create special meetings in order to catch up on the items that couldn't make it into that first meeting. So The only problem is that with special meetings, our residents cannot participate in those meetings. So you have a lot of decisions that are being made. Our residents can't come in and speak about ahead of those decisions being made. So it shuts our residents out of the process. First thing that we're going to do, and I've heard our former mayor speak about this as well, Suzette speak about this, is bringing that back, two scheduled meetings per month, because that allows the residents of Bloomfield to be at the forefront of all the decisions made. I think a lot of things could have been avoided if we had the residents at the forefront of our decision making. One of those things is, of course, when they attempted to change Prosser Library. That was one of the main things that could have been avoided. So many other items, with our budget, so many other items that could have been changed. The trajectory of this town adjusted if we brought the residents back into the decision-making seat. Our residents know exactly what they want to see from this town.
Absolutely.
It's our job to execute it.
I would thoroughly agree with that. That would have to be like one of the first things, right? Going back to the 2 meetings per month and making sure that our residents feel seen, heard, and respected. Come into the meetings. The town hall is your town hall. You have a say at every meeting. Your opinions are important, and you will be respected when you come into the council chamber. I've heard so many people when I was knocking doors throughout the primary who said they felt disrespected. They felt like they were shut up. They felt like so many things that just blew my mind. Like the bringing people back to our town government, making sure they feel seen, heard, and respected is, I think, top priority. Because I think when people feel like they're a part of the process,
Yes.
it's more, it's now we're together. It's not a them versus us.
Yes.
It's what are we going to do for our town. So I think that's extremely important. When I was mayor, we had town halls, right, where we came out of the town council chamber and we met people on different sides of the town and we heard them. I want to hear what our residents have to say. I want to hear how some agenda item is going to affect them, because we only know what we know, right? We need to be open to what we don't know, to hear another side of the story. I always said when I was on council, please give me all the information possible so I can make the best decision. And I think all of that's been out the window because people have been shut down. So I think that's one of the most important things is we're going to open that back up. And God help us, I would like to see what our audit looks like. We have not had our audit. We've been penalized for it. But that's our financial guidebook. How do you know what you have to spend if you don't know what you have to spend? Right? How do we know how good we're doing if there's nothing to look at? And so some of those things need to happen, and they need to happen quickly. Being able to let our employees, which the only employee we have is the town manager, but let the employees of the town know that they too are valued, right? And that we too want to hear their perspective. So I think a lot of it is communication, open communication. I think a lot of it is respect. I think a lot of it is level setting. Let's all get our, get our marching orders straight, and let's really figure out where we are as a town. Good, bad, or indifferent. Where's our jumping off point? And how do we make a path forward that's going to put us back into good standing, and not just good standing with other parts of the state, but good standing with the residents of the town.
With us.
Right.
Our
Partnership.
credit, yeah, exactly. Partnership. What former Mayor DeBeatham-Brown touched upon a bit was how our credit rating was downgraded, and that is going to make borrowing more expensive for this town, which ultimately is going to be an increased burden on our residents, and that happened under the majority government. That is, most of them, besides former Mayor DeBeatham-Brown, are running on row A. Our former mayor is on, what spot on row A?
2A.
2A, so look out for her. The other folks that are on 2A look out for her on 2A. My apologies, I'm trying to get it right, folks. The other folks that are on row A are part of the reason why we're in this problem, where we have our credit rating downgraded, where borrowing is going to be more expensive for the town, and then you, of course, the resident. It's irresponsible. Yes, we do need that audit taken care of and quickly, but also we need to really, what I want to do is evaluate all the special projects that a lot of the folks on row A, besides our former mayor, I gotta always add that disclaimer, folks, because I like our former mayor, I like Suzette. I'm gonna be extending one of my votes for her. You know, that may be one of the only times you hear a Republican say they're going to vote for a Democrat. I'm going to extend one of my votes for her. But the other folks on row A, they have put together and pushed many special projects that have been a financial burden to the town, and I think unnecessarily. One of them by our current mayor, Tony Arrington. He told us was going to be self-sufficient, or at least not financially relying on the town at this point. But instead, we shelled out tens of thousands of dollars towards this program in its most recent iteration. It's not fair to our residents, but we do have programs that we can support that can really help our town and make a difference. One of them, our current superintendent, who actually was my former vice principal when I went to Carmen A. Race. She spoke about our agricultural program in Bloomfield. Now, Bloomfield, our roots are in agriculture. We have many farms. We have a whole lot of land in Bloomfield, very low population density compared to similarly sized populations in other towns. What the superintendent told us is that with our agricultural program, we're at the point where we could possibly get students from other towns to start coming to the agricultural program here in Bloomfield, which is going to bring tuition from those other towns to Bloomfield and help to lower the overall cost that our Board of Education comes to us with every year for our budget seasons. So there are common sense things that we can invest in. And that's one of the most important parts. I understand we all want to do a million projects, but we have to look at the town almost like a business. What can we invest in? And what I want to invest in is you, the resident. I want to invest in us as a community, but we have to do it in a smart way, one that makes sense for all of our town from this point and moving forward. So I'm hoping that we can do that. I'm going to be on 3B. We have Suzette DeBeatham-Brown on
2A.
2A. I have a good friend that's also running Rick Curtin. He's going to be a write-in on 1C. Those are three folks right there that are willing to put in the work. Troy Mitchell is going to be a write-in for TPZ. There's various folks that are running that are looking to really make a difference and turn a page in our community, because we need that for our town. We can't keep going down in the same direction. They said doing the same thing over and over is the definition of insanity. But Bloomfield, we ain't insane. So let's get it right in November.
Right. So I'm looking at the time, and in essence of time, I just got a text that there's a break that's coming up at 2:50. So 8:50. 2 o'clock. I don't know where I'm at. Another country maybe. But Councilman Shamar, it's lovely to see a Republican and a Democrat sitting at the table, and they're not going up against each other, right? They're not trying to shut down Bloomfield, right? So I know that you're a Republican.
Yes,
I want you to take a moment to just talk to those folks who are Democrat that says, I don't want to vote for a Republican. I know that you represent a very different Republican. So why don't you take a moment to speak to that?
So, what's important here, especially at the local level, is that we can't get lost in the national politics. One thing that you pointed out, DJ El Capri, is that we have a Democrat and Republican sitting side by side, and in many towns it's not possible. But also, of course, at the national level, if you're right, we'd be shut down right now. But one of the most important things is being able to see the commonalities that we have. I'm a Republican that believes in building bridges, not burning them. I believe in finding the common ground and learning how we can move forward. Like I said earlier, I'm a people over politics person. I wasn't endorsed by the Republican Party in my town the last time that I ran. And the reason why I wasn't endorsed is because they asked me, the question was, will you always put the Republican Party first? And I told them my first and only priority is the residents of Bloomfield in this town, this community that I was born and raised in. That is what I care most about. And I was raised with strong principles, that are rooted in all the decisions that I make. So no, a party isn't going to make me make this decision or that decision. It's what's best for our town. So I'm a community first representative. I don't even really care for folks to look at me as a Republican, a Democrat, an affiliated independent. I want you to see me as Shamar Mahon, because that's what I've always been. That's what I'll continue to be, your representative, your councilman, regardless of whatever the political affiliation is. I am here for you. So that's what I'm all about. I'm hoping that you can extend a vote to me. You have 6 votes. Use 1 to re-elect Shamar Mahon for Bloomfield Town Council.
And I'm gonna I have 3 minutes,
Wait a
and I'm
minute.
gonna give.
So here's the thing, right? What I'm going to ask every voter to do is to do your research. And to pick the person that you believe have the values that you have. It's not about a Republican, it's not about a Democrat, it's about who you believe will amplify your voice at every single table they're at. I believe in building tables, and at my table, I want everybody to feel heard, valued, and respected. So I'm not going to ask you to vote for me just because I'm a Democrat. I'm asking you to vote for me because I am your servant leader. I am the one that's going to get all the information and make the best decision for our residents of the town of Bloomfield. I will amplify your voice, whether you feel like you have one or not. Whatever the situations are that come before me, you will be my first thought. My character will not let me do anything less. I'm your servant leader, and I'm hoping that you will be able to give us a vote to help to put Bloomfield on the track that it needs to be on.
Well, I want to thank you all both for coming in, sharing this information.
Can I have a PSA, please? I would like to congratulate you, Miss 100 Women of Color. I didn't want to leave here without saying that. If you all didn't know, she joined the class of the 100 Women of Color, and we salute you for that.
Thank you. Miss former 100 Women of Color, past 100 Women of Color.
Yes.
So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
Let me see my time. We still have a few more minutes. Not kicking in yet.
1 minute.
So, yeah, I'm going to go until it goes. If you have a minute, could explain that ballot. It's kicking in.
It's kicking in.
I wanted, because 6 votes.
Right.
Yeah, 6 votes. You have 6 votes. We're just asking for you to use 3 of them. We have Suzette DeBeatham-Brown on 2A. You have Shamar Mahon on 3B, Wright and Rickford Curtin on 1C. That's your town council votes.
Thank you. Once again, you're tuned into the Gemmin Show. We're going to run into a PSA. The next voice you hear. All right. There we go. Show ends.
Thank you so very much. Oh my God. It just seemed like it just went like that.
I feel like you guys should have come in at 7 o'clock. Like we needed 2 hours. This is such a rich conversation.
This was good.
And election, we didn't even put that date out there.
November 4th.
Yes.
November 4th. I will post. If everybody could like and share this this live. Like and share so that this information is carried over to other folks on Facebook. that could benefit from hearing what our candidates have to offer and how they can represent you as a resident of Bloomfield. So like and share, like and share.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It was good. It was very good. Good job. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, DJ El Capri.
Miss 100 woman Akola.
Oh my God, the time just flew.
It was good. It was good. Thank you for.
Thought we were done, but we're not. We're actually back here. And there's some last minute things that our candidates want to get out, which we feel is very important for them to get out. So I'm going to let you guys take it away.
We missed you guys, so we had to come back. So we some important dates that are coming up. We have early voting currently going on right now.